April 8th, 2021, Ohio Public Works Commission meeting, which is being recorded since we are having an issue with live stream, so the public can access us eventually. Call to order, please, Director.
Commissioner Jones Capers? Here. Commissioner Marshall?
Here.
Commissioner Yaski?
Here.
Commissioner Paget?
Here.
Chair Tennell?
Here.
We have a quorum. I will go ahead and acknowledge the ex officios. For ODOT, Pam Vesborton, I know she said she would be late today. And for OEPA, Jerry Rao, also thought he would be late. For ODSA, Michael Frazier. For ODNR, John Kessler.
Here.
And for OWDA, Ken Heigl.
Excellent. All right, welcome. As everyone moves. You all received the minutes from our meeting November 12th, 2020. If there are no additions or corrections, we can approve them as submitted.
I just had a question about the minutes. Linda, I'm not sure if this is pertinent or not, but under the executive session section, we moved to go into executive session, but we don't really say when we're coming out and going back into regular session. Or are we supposed to have that or no?
I really did not know how to handle that because I wasn't present.
Right.
So as the keeper of the minutes, I just wasn't sure. But if you want me to make some kind of change for that, I can do so.
Usually, and I'll just speak from the city perspective, when council goes into executive session, they always say they're going in and that they're going to come back out and not take any action. But then when they come back out, they kind of note it and they go back into regular session, and it's usually noted. So, but I don't know if we kept track of like what time we went in or we did on what time we went in, but maybe not on what time we came out.
I don't think it was really long. I don't think it was very long. I also recall that the open meetings law requires us to have a roll call vote before we go into executive session, and that we state the reason why we're going into executive session, which in that case would have been personnel matters. But I don't recall being in executive session for more than 10 minutes.
Right. Yeah, no, it wasn't really long, but I just was curious if we needed to note what time we came out, but I don't know how it's been done in the past. So, and if we don't know, if we don't remember the exact time, then I guess we really can't put it on there, I guess.
I mean, I would say that I think we're supposed to say when we come out, just so it doesn't look like we've been in executive session since November. So if that was an oversight on my part, then I apologize. But we could amend the minutes to say that, you know, we came out of executive session and then adjourn the meeting, and then put that amendment to the minutes, and then make sure that we follow the coming in and out of executive session rules better next time.
Yeah, I guess we should maybe just say, you know, we came out of executive session if we know roughly what time it was, and then back into regular session, because when you look at the minutes, we go back into other business and we talk about other things, and then we adjourn at 10:42. So we actually left executive session and came back into regular session and finished our business. And I don't know if the meeting was recorded where we could actually go and see what time we came back into regular session.
I was going to suggest that we can go back and look and check that time, and I can add a sentence
Yeah.
under executive session at the end of that paragraph.
And
That
then,
sounds perfect.
yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great. And then the only other item that I had, Linda, was under other business. It's the 5th paragraph and the last sentence where it talks about Mr. Rauch replied that there are various state and federal sources. The
Yes.
word is stated, it should be just state.
I see that, Mayor. Thank you. I will take care of that as well.
Okay. Those were the only two items that I noted in the minutes.
Excellent. Anyone else? Since we I'm sorry. I was going to say, since we made a slight change, I would say let's go ahead and do just a regular vote. I will entertain a motion to approve the minutes as amended.
So moved.
Would one of you like to be the second?
I'll second.
Did you get them, Linda?
Yes.
All approve, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. All right, technology. Director's report.
Thank you. Speaking of technology, Will has informed me that we are currently live streaming, so we're in good shape. So thank you and sorry about that. I have a few items to go over. First of all, since I am here, I was reappointed by the governor and my 4-year term began last month on March 19th. Thank you again for your support. It really does mean a lot. I'm honored and I will continue to do my best for this organization and for our customers. So I really do, again, appreciate that. I first wanted to talk to you about our budget and let you know where we are. It's that time of year, every odd calendar year, the executive, the legislature undertake the operating budget bills. And because of our sources of funding, we are in two bills. We have one part of our funding in the transportation budget bill and part of it in the main operating bill. The budget bill, transportation budget bill, was just recently signed by the governor, and it was probably the most activity we have had in a transportation budget bill in some time. In the Senate, we gained an additional $2 million for road slips. And in my discussion with the Senate, we decided to allow that to be historical. So not necessarily for emergencies, but try to do a little bit of catch up. It's only $2 million. So we already have interest. We expect to go through that rather quickly. And I was asked to keep the Senate apprised of where we are on that. The other item to note was we were successful. That's the live stream. We were successful in our campaign to remove a provision that would have required controlling board approval for cash transfers, appropriations, reappropriations. ODOT also had faced the same challenge, and we pointed out that this measure could cause delays and cause a problem for our contractual obligations to our customers. Obviously, the legislature ultimately agreed with our point of view, and we're very thankful for them in their consideration. We were able to get that withdrawn, and it's a true win for our customers because it also protects our reputation to be able to continue to move money quickly. And we were really concerned about delays and actually losing projects and causing problems for local governments, contractors, and our nonprofits. So I wanted to make you aware of that. The operating budget bill is currently working its way through the House, quickly toward the Senate. I'm not really expecting anything at this time, but I didn't expect anything in the transportation budget bill either. So I'll have an update for you on that in July. I wanted to make a note that in addition to the $2 million for road slips, we have an emergency fund that was $3.5 million. It is jumping to $12 million on July 1st, and that is due to a previously previous approved increase by the legislature in a previous transportation budget bill. And we have applied a one-year look back to the use of those funds because we run out of money, emergency money, very quickly every year. And so we were out of money shortly after July 1st last year. So we said, look, we're going to go back a year, pick up anything, any event, any emergency with an event that occurred as of July 1st of 2020 and consider those. 12 million, we have no idea. I've been asked by members of the legislature how that's going to work for us. And of course, we'll find out. It's all a matter of rain. Usually spring brings us our most attention regarding road slips. That's probably where most of our funding goes. And that's why you can see they gave us that 2 million specifically for road slips, because that's where most of our emergencies are. So we're also to monitor that, keep an eye on that, and again, stay in contact with the legislature regarding our use of those funds. Next, I wanted to move on to the portal. Salesforce, of course, is our cloud-based web application for project application and management. And we're really excited that we're going to be doing a full launch July 1st. We've been working very diligently at that. The team's been getting things moved over and cleaned up. And you may recall that we launched the loan program in the portal last billing cycle this past November to accept loan payments online. We did have some little hiccups, a few little kinks, but that really didn't have to do with the portal itself. For that part, it actually went pretty smoothly, and we are better prepared for this next cycle that is kicked off next month for July 1st payments that'll be due. Internally, our staff will be cutting over to Salesforce later this month. So right now we work in 2 older systems, and we're going to be cutting out of those and over into Salesforce completely by the end of this month. And then our external launch for those customers will be July 1st. So all of our infrastructure project agreements will be available electronically July 1st. And the applicants, the CEOs for those projects will be able to assign through a process using something called one span sign, I believe, and Abby will correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it's called one span sign. And so we'll be rolling it out that way, and folks will also be able to enter in their disbursements through the portal. We've been working on messaging, on preparation. In fact, we just released a message this week through our electronic newsletter, and we're gearing up for customer support. We want to do whatever hand-holding we can and help folks set up their accounts, get their accounts set up online. So we have designated one staff member who has graciously agreed, our business manager, Martha Janine, and she is going to have a phone number that is going to be for customer support, as well as an email address, and be able to help out those who are unable to navigate the process themselves. We're going to have training sessions and videos and more messaging. So we're gearing up for all of that to try to get that rolled out as smoothly as possible. And of course, we know change is hard, and that this next year is going to be a real change for our customers. But we are going to be very generous in moving them over. So it's not as though, hey, it's July 1st, you can't do paper anymore. We're going to work with our customers and do a gentle nudge and work over into the platform over time. The last topic I have is teleworking. Obviously, we continue to do so since we're all in our respective places right now. Last November, and I don't believe I had mentioned this previously, that we had to provide a long-term plan to the Department of Administrative Services, DAS, all agencies, boards, and technicians had to reply to their teleworking plan, their COVID plan, and their long-term plans, what they intended to do for the long haul. So we thought long and hard about this, and I will have to admit that, we had a minute to adjust to teleworking. And then we have all this planning time to readjust to what is going back to whatever we're going back to. And we talked a lot about, our options that DAS had laid out for us. Everybody goes back, or you do a hybrid, or you do something called hoteling, where you get space when you need space. I think it was what ultimately led to our proposal is the fact it's about Salesforce, which is a paperless tool. So without paper, we don't have to have a receiving point for that paper, a storage point for that paper. And because we are so small, surprising to me, teleworking has worked far better than I ever would have had anticipated. If you'd asked me that a year ago, I would have said, no way, because I just didn't have the concept or the experience to know what teleworking would be like. Because we are so small, I think that's really been our advantage. We were already a cohesive team prior to launching into teleworking land. So because we already had good communication between all of us and have no problem with connecting with each other on a daily basis, I think that has really been beneficial for us. Therefore, we have led ourselves to the conclusion, this was our proposal, to do a reduced footprint. Therefore, continue with teleworking for the long haul, but have a reduced footprint at a location that DAS has yet to determine, where we'll have minimal office space and conference room accessibility, to be able to come together when we need to come together, be able to meet with folks when we need to, and still have that face-to-face interaction when we have the need for it, and even for a staff member if they need to vacate their home environment for whatever reason and have a quiet space to work in an office, or if they have any type of technical difficulties, they'll have an alternative workspace. So apparently it was, we thought of all the angles because DAS was very receptive to our plan. They thought it was indeed well thought out. We have not received a formal approval yet, but they were it was very encouraging and thumbs up. And so we are going forward with that premise that will be ultimately approved, and working on that track. So we hope to hear something soon. The last we heard was that the last we knew was that all agencies are home until May 1st, or at least teleworking till May 1st. And I've not been aware of anything from DAS that has extended that. So I believe that's where we are right now. John, are you aware of anything? Or what have you heard for ODNR?
It's very similar, and we also had to submit various plans related to the telework timeframe, just as you described, Linda. Our latest instructions, and these are subject to change and verification and modification by the director of DNR, but we were to prepare for about a 50% occupancy rate about June 1 at DNR within various offices.
Okay, but you still haven't had anything definitive that's
Correct. We are planning for that, but that has yet to be communicated formally, but we're prepared for that.
okay.
Linda,
Yes.
just a couple questions. So I've been reading a lot about not just state agencies, but even private employers looking at this reduced space and working, through telecommunications. But the one thing that keeps coming through these things is that seems to be a loss of synergy. When you don't have that contact, that personal contact with people. So I guess, how are you going to handle that?
Yeah, and that's a really good question, and that's probably the biggest thing I've struggled with. We're still thinking all of this through, and DAS has been great in saying, if you want any suggestions or tools or advice or assistance, and we said yes, we will, because we are looking for ideas as regarding that synergy or how to keep folks connected. As far as the external customer, we very rarely had an external visitor. We just weren't getting visitors in our office. So that part was not a concern. As far as our own team, we connect first thing every Monday morning. We have a virtual meeting just to see what everybody's schedule is for the week and any updates, anything that I think they all want to know. I kept them apprised of the budget. We talk about Salesforce. So we do that. We also, our program team, we meet every couple of weeks and get everybody together, which is something we were doing in the office. We call it a rep, the program reps, and everybody would gather around the table and talk. And so we have those scheduled, but anybody is free to say, I can't wait, we need a rep now. So we leave that, it's very fluid. So I'm not so much concerned about the team, because I think we were so well gelled before March 16th of 2020. My long-term concern is a new hire, and how you, if and when that time comes, the time will come, how do we successfully onboard somebody and introduce them into a culture for which they have no background and experience? I think that's really going to be a challenge for us. I can see a lot of spending time in the reduced footprint office space with any new employee, even bringing everybody together to introduce and have some time with all team members. I think that's going to be really critical in their success. I have talked to a couple of individuals recently who were just hired during the pandemic, not obviously in our organization, but in others. And their insights were really, and perspectives were really helpful to me. They both said, keep your person busy. Just keep them busy, because they're sitting there in their environment. You don't want to keep them waiting for anything. They came there to work. You want to make sure that they've got plenty on their table and their desk, their screens to keep on moving. So when the time comes for a new hire, obviously we're going to have to put a lot of planning and preparation into making sure that we have a smooth onboarding process that really benefits the new hire as well as our organization and our customers. So I think that's our real challenge.
Yeah, actually, the articles do mention the situation with new hires. That's always a challenge. So, I certainly don't want to tell you how to work this out, but I do believe that some regularly scheduled coming together, whether it's twice a month, once a month, whatever, so that your space is large enough to accommodate for that.
And I agree with that. And that's one of the reasons why we told DAS we will need access to a conference room, not only for our commission meetings, but for our staff, so that we can get together on a regular basis and have, maintain the synergy. And, we haven't seen each other in a year except for screen time. So I agree with you. I think that's really critical.
Linda, the proposal that you shared, is that a permanent solution? Is that a 5-year solution? I mean, I guess I'm wondering, like, I appreciate what you're saying and how this model has been working for this organization, but is there, or is DAS saying, or in state government, are we moving toward back to where we were all in that big building with, 4,000 of our closest friends within a couple of years?
There really hasn't been a lot on that. Again, their long-term options from DAS were full-time teleworking, hybrid, coming back, or hoteling. So they had no time limit on that whatsoever. Our lease, where we currently reside, of course, is in a private building at 65 East State. That lease is up the end of June. We do have in our contract, our rental lease, there is a 6-month renewal option. And we have told DAS that we would want to exercise that option to get us through to the end of the calendar year, because we don't have time for it now. But when we get that formal approval, it's going to take time to disassemble and close up an office and move what we're going to move to a smaller footprint. So it could in a future, in a few years from now, someone want to reverse that and say, I want to bring everybody together. I think there's a need to bring everybody together. I have to believe that there would be state space to do that. I know that at least the division that I work with the State Attorney General's office, they're home permanently. There is a division of DAS. They were renting, I can't remember if they rented or owned the building. They're home permanently. So we know that there will be, or expect that there will be, state space. And even when Matt talked to DAS about that, they do anticipate having space to fill. So we think there will be space in the long term should, this isn't functioning as we thought it would, as we thought it would. So maybe we need to bring everybody back together. Is there space to do so? We anticipate that would be available to us.
Well, this being state government doesn't mean that, the definition of permanent in state government is not the same as in our minds. So,
right. You have to roll with the flow. When last fall, we had about a month to get a plan together, and it was something that, Matt and I were talking about daily, and what are the ins and the outs and the pros and the cons, and does this work? And again, at first I was very reluctant. But I had to look at, the past few months and how were we working and considering the launch of Salesforce. And I thought, what when we're in the office, yes, we miss that where you just walk over and grab somebody. We miss that when I come out of my office and say, okay, everybody gather around. I've got something I want to tell you. We don't have that. So we have to do a little bit more planning. And so that's why we've got things on the calendars where we know we're going to meet. And I asked folks, we keep those meetings. I think I just canceled one for yesterday because the staff said, well, we've already talked this week. There's really nothing more to discuss on Wednesday. But we all have that option. And any team member has that option to say, Linda, let's bring everybody together. I've got something I want to discuss. So we always have that opportunity. But yeah, having a conference room and a space wherever DAS determines for us so we can come together regularly, I think that's important.
This is Ken from Executive Director of OWDA. Sorry for joining late. I was on a call with Director Stevenson and it ran over. I assume we're talking about remote working, Linda. And if you don't mind, I'll just say a couple things because OWDA is very similar structure-wise to OPWC. We got 15 people. We've all been remote. We were all talking and, do people want to come back? They don't want to come back. We're very efficient. Everybody thinks we haven't missed a beat. It's working. Why should we change it? So I've got lots of ideas in my head. I have not presented mine to my board yet, but there is definitely some good, I think, that's happened from remote work. I do think we're more focused, and I think we're getting deadlines. Yeah, we don't run into each other and share that idea in the hallway, but at the same time, we're not interrupted in the hallway either. And conversations have become very focused and targeted, and that's a benefit. To Joy's comment about synergies, I'm worried about the same thing. And we've got 4 team leaders, and I've been working with them saying, we have to manage differently now. We're not managing hours in the office. We're managing by project. We're managing by your deadlines. We're managing by different expectations, and that's going to be harder work on the supervisor, as I feel. But we're willing to do it. We're working on our plan. So I hear you, Linda. These are not easy decisions, and we just onboarded a new person. It was odd. It was very efficient in the interview process because we could just go from one team call to the next to do the interview. Those were quick. So we did it. Rental, as you know, OWD's office, that first floor, those conference rooms, they're always available to you, Linda, too.
Thank you.
When you're putting your plan together, you want to have, just for your board, if you want to have your staff meetings there, you want to have smaller people, I bet we could work something out. So keep that.
Excuse me, this is Paul. Hello?
Yes, Paul.
Oh,
Hi, on a slightly related point, has the state legislature made a decision on how local municipal income taxes are going to be paid in the future after the pandemic?
No, they have not. I know that's something that Matt's been following, but there's been no determination.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I also want to say, give a nod, Ken, I appreciate your comments very much. You had made the remark about interruptions, and I think you, like I, have an open door policy, which I feel very strongly about. I wanted to know that everybody knows that Linda's accessible. They don't need an appointment. And so, but yes, when I was in the office, all day long. But that was my choice. I want to be available to staff. Now, I am more focused. I think they are all more focused. So I will have to say, you are able to kind of pick and choose your time. And they all know, everybody knows, and they do. They can call, they can text, so even if they know that, boy, Linda's focused on the project right now, I need to get her attention, they can get my attention. So I don't know that anybody has difficulty with reaching out.
Ken, hi, this is Matt with the Public Works Commission, everybody. Ken, I know you guys, if my memory is correct, you actually own your building downtown. Is that correct?
That's correct. We own it. The authority
Okay.
owns it.
Yeah. So are you kind of thinking maybe a hybrid where a small percentage may actually show up in the office just periodically? Is that kind of where you're heading, you think?
That's where we're going. Nothing's been presented to my board yet, so I don't want to talk.
No, that's all fine.
But yeah, that's where we're headed that way. We're headed.
Okay, so you're not going to sell your building.
We will not sell our building. No.
Okay.
Unless we're right on High Street, unless a developer comes and gives us lots of money and they want to build a hotel or a microbrewery, then I'll.
Yeah, never say never.
And Linda, we're currently letting the Air Quality Authority use our conference room, so they're already doing it. And I think there's some synergies between all of us as we look, down the road, because we have a very accessible building. And let's utilize it.
Yeah.
We're not paying rent. We don't have a mortgage on it. So let's use it. Let's have somebody in that conference room 4 out of the 5 days a week.
So on the training of your new hire, how do you kind of envision that during their, just during their first 6 months? Do you envision someone coming in and maybe from a distance standpoint, sitting in a room, kind of going over policies, procedures as such, or how do you see onboarding training?
Onboarding training, I think, is going to be remote. The gentleman starts on Monday, we're gonna HR is going to be in the office along with IT and myself, and we'll make sure when he walks out of there Monday by noon, he's got the equipment he needs to log in at home, and in the way we're all networked, and we log into our desktops from home, and we've in the last year, what we've really learned how to do is share files and be organized, and we've incorporated some new third-party software to share documents. I think it's going to be okay. I think it's going to be a lot of telephone calls. It's going to be a lot of Teams meeting, sharing screens, and doing it that way. So we'll see.
Okay, and you have a paper-based project folder system, if my memory is correct. Is that still the case, or have you gone all electronic on your actual?
We've gone all electronic. We've gone all electronic. We use Laserfish, and now we've incorporated Workflow, which is a Laserfish product. And Workflow you map out your process and who's responsible for what and who does what when, and you design it that way, so the documents flow through that process, and we'll notify the next person. So when we get a loan application in, it's entered. Once it's entered, the person says it's entered. Kim, our loan analyst, gets an email, say this is ready for you. She does her part, goes to engineering for review. When all those people sign off, then it comes to me for my review. And so it's automatically, we're all looking at one copy of the file, and we get notified through email.
And just finally, do you still have a full-time IT presence in your office, staffing wise?
Yeah, we have two. We had one for many years, and now we have two.
Okay, so thank you. That's very nice to know.
Yeah, two full-time spots for IT.
Nice.
Any other thoughts on our future home? Good luck.
We might be in a tent on the fairgrounds, so we're open to anything.
I guess my only concern is the visibility of the commission if they're physically not there. I mean, you commented, Linda, about being able to pop over to see people, but hopefully that isn't something that negatively impacts us, but you know how to run your office.
And of course, we're also, regarding the commission itself, when we can get back together physically, I want to be able to get back together physically. Absolutely. I think right now, guys, you'll have to remind me, John and Ken, I think that's until the end of July. I think it's July.
Correct.
Is it July 1st or?
I think it's through the end of July, but
end of July. Okay. I think it is the end of July. So I'll keep you, of course, all apprised on that. But of course, that's your decision as a body. But I know there's a lot of driving involved, for some. But if we have the ability to get back together, that would be nice. So.
Anything else, madam?
That's all I have.
All right. Any other questions?
Yes, I have two unrelated questions. I hope that you have not sent me the electronic newsletter because I don't remember getting it. So if I'm not on that email, could you make sure that I'm on that so that I can read the newsletter that you send out?
Yeah, I may have to ask Abby to pipe in here because she set that up. I know people sign up through our homepage. It's at the bottom of our homepage. So it's the, anybody who wants to sign up can sign up because there are 3 types of newsletters that they choose to sign up for. I don't know, Abby, if you could speak up, can we do that on somebody else's behalf?
Yeah, hi Joy. Yeah, we can look into making sure that you're on there. We have not sent one out. We haven't had anything recently to send out, but Linda and I have been drafting one up for this week, so there should be something coming up here soon. But I will check to ensure that you are on there. The one thing I did want to recommend is if you're not seeing it, check your spam filter, because sometimes if we're not added as like a safe sender, it will go to spam. We did some work with IT last fall to try to ensure that we were set up correctly, but there's still some that just go directly to spam. So when I send it, I'll follow up with you directly to ensure that you received it.
Good idea. I did not check spam. I forget to do that, but I just think it's a way of keeping up to date with what you're sending out to people, and it'd be sort of nice to read it. The other
Yes,
question,
absolutely.
when you were talking about that $12 million of emergency money, Linda, so is that money awarded directly from OPWC, or is this part of a project that could go through another entity and we're just matching money? How's that money distributed?
Yeah, that is like small government. Emergency is in our office. The emergency fund is the director's discretionary fund. So we take, historically, we've always worked it the same way regarding it's first come, first serve. So they apply directly to us. They don't go through the district. And we have a policy. You send us a pre-app, we're going to get back to you within 24 to 48 hours. So of course, if it's Friday night at midnight, I don't know that I'm always going to see it right away, but we do have a very quick turnaround on that. And we have a very simple pre-app that we have online that they fill out. It's a one-page form. They describe the problem, give the date of the event, give us contact information. We welcome photos, prefer photos so we can actually see the situation, the problem. We will provide up to 90% of eligible project costs, and they have to give us their engineer's estimate, and they get a response within 24 to 48 hours. And unless the project is not eligible, as long as we have the money, we're funding them.
Well, I actually remember doing this with Ohio Public Works for my constituents. But the thing that we normally looked at, or I did, was that, let's say that they're asking for $3 million, but they didn't ask anybody else for any funds. I always thought that if there were other funds that might be eligible, they should do that so that your money goes further. So do you ask that question?
We do ask if, and someone just pulled up out to my home, so it might get a little noisy here for a moment. We do ask for folks to, if they have made other attempts to apply for funds. FEMA, I don't know if you're all aware, but FEMA has been very difficult for folks, and that's why we're hearing from them more than ever that they can't get their project approved through FEMA. So unfortunately, there's not a lot of grant money out there for emergencies. And I think that's what caught the senator's attention, is that, you know, they know that we're out there for them, and that we turn things back so quickly. When I just went through the transportation budget bill with the Senate, I had several senators say they were so impressed with how quickly we respond, that we get money out there very fast.
I'm just trying to figure out how to make it go further.
Yes, absolutely. And I appreciate that. That's always been our dilemma, and how to get things as quickly, as fast through the pipeline as we can. You know, as soon as we hear from folks, we want to get them funded. We want to get them moving. And we even tell folks, once they get our approval, we say, get started. Don't wait on a full application. Don't wait on the project agreement. This is our approval. Get going. We'll reimburse you. So
Thank you.
Make it fast. Yes.
Anything else for Linda for her report? Great. More of Linda with new business.
Small government appointment. One of the duties of the Ohio Public Works Commission, one of your duties is to appoint members to the Small Government Commission. The commission works with the administrator, currently my other hat too, in the administration of the small government program and the fund. It's a second chance, if you will, for villages and rural townships with populations less than 5,000. And they compete for funds, or can compete for funds if forwarded by the district if they were not funded, through the district process. The commission meets at least once each year. They meet each May for certain to vote on the administrator's recommendations, and sometimes twice. We have 7 voting members. The only requirement is that they sit on a district integrating committee representing townships or villages. That is a legal requirement. Of those 7 positions, we now have 1 vacancy. There are 2 nominees. I provided you that information. The vacancy was previously filled by a representative from District 11. The 2 nominees are Jeff Wolf from District 4. He's the administrator of Jefferson Township and a trustee in Clay Township, both in Montgomery County. And the other is Jeff Stewart. He is from District 11. He's the municipal manager for the village of Lewisburg, and that's in Preble County.
Does anybody, I mean, we're voting right now so does anybody have any comments, thoughts, want to make a nomination, want to put someone's name forward? As Linda had mentioned previously, Steve was in our previous pool. Everybody hopefully read all of their bios. Feel free to nominate or
So just to,
name them out.
so just to clarify, we're looking at District 11 on the map. Is that correct?
That was that is who we had a representative from 11. That's where the vacancy comes from. Was that individual stepped down?
Okay, so and that's what we're trying to fill with one of the 2 candidates.
Right, but these are not. We never have one district. We never have 2 representatives from the same district. But of course, we don't have a representative from 4 or 11 right now. So they're both, either one of them, they're both eligible for this vacancy.
So Linda, have you screened these 2 candidates? Because I don't know either one. I'm not familiar with, District 11. I mean, one person certainly provided us with more information, but, I don't know if that means that the other one just didn't use the right format. So is there a recommendation from you folks?
I don't really, I leave that up to the body. Do we know these folks? Our program reps know these folks because they sit on the district integrating committees. So our program reps know them. We meet once a year. They're approving the administrator's recommendations. I think you're going to be fine either way. It's just they're adding just perspective. They're asking questions. They're holding the administrator to task. They set the rules and the administrator follows the rules.
I don't have a map in front of me. Would 4 or 11, would District 4 or District 11 mean more concentration? I know they're representing the whole state, but would that mean more concentration in a certain part of the state versus another one?
4 is just an urban county. It's Montgomery County. 11 is 8 counties that are all kind of contiguous to Montgomery County. It's just west of Franklin County.
So they're both the same area, but one is one and one is many.
Yes, exactly.
So
The
either,
previous member the prior member came from District 11?
Yes,
Okay. I would mix it up and put in the person from 4.
Kimberly, what were you going to say?
yeah, I guess that was my question. Like, it looks like one of them is from Montgomery and it's a single county district, and the other person is from the other district that's multiple counties. But either one, it could go either way. Like, even though it looks like Mr. Wolf is from 4, he could represent 11.
They're not representing their district. There's no district representation. It's how they got there. It's how they got nominated. So
Okay.
they're representing villages and townships.
Okay,
For
perfect.
the state, yeah, I'm sorry, I guess that was confusing, but they're
No,
not
it's-
representing a district. There's no district voice on small government.
Okay.
I was just curious about the regionality. So Paul is
Yeah.
recommending that we nominate Steve Wolf, the for Montgomery
Correct.
County guy. Do we need a second for that nomination?
I'll second if we need a second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
All opposed, same sign. Welcome to Mr. Wolf.
Thank you. I'll inform both of them, both Mr. Stewart and Mr. Wolf.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Old business. I guess I would take this time if that's okay, Linda. So when Linda and I were speaking earlier today, and Joy's made some reference to it as well, a lot of what's been happening with Linda as the director has been what I feel is a lot of housekeeping. If you're new, you might not realize that, but a lot of things that just are being taken care of are being brought to the 21st century. And something that I have noticed, and Kimberly probably has as well, is that it feels like we only get together we only need to get together 4 times a year. We often don't do that. And every time there are vacancies that are trying to be filled. And just when we fill all the vacancies, there's another vacancy. And so Linda and I talked about perhaps in the July meeting, we as a commission discuss alternatives to that, because I think it's hard for Linda and her staff to constantly be chasing down legislators to say, hey, we have this position to fill. And I understand that they have many things going on. That's also part of their job. How can we take this piece off of Linda's plate? Do we extend our terms? Do we make our terms do we take off our term limits? Do we try to help out our legislators and how they can be more responsive? So we just talked about the July meeting might be a good time for us to help with the housekeeping or discuss housekeeping or have it be more internal. By then the budget's done, projects are underway. So oftentimes we haven't had that meeting, but that might be a good thing just to discuss, like how do we make our body more efficient? And I will say what I told Linda earlier is every time I talk to one of my legislators, I comment on how well run this organization is. It would be great if all of the state of Ohio ran as well as this. But and I'm sure that ODNR also works well. I'm not on your board, but I'm sure it is completely amazing. But I feel a little frustrated that everything in-house seems to work really well, and then the minute we have to fill one of those vacancies and other things, it kind of falls apart. So just that we thought that might be something good to address next meeting is, wouldn't it be nice to not have to worry about a quorum every 3 months? And other things. So maybe put on your thinking caps about what other things we could do to help Linda, Matt, and Abby and staff, and then also what do we see with our extensive knowledge of state government? And our ex officios are welcome to pop in too.
I'll just chime in and piggyback. I think it's a great idea. It seems like since I've started filling the voting members or the members it seems to be challenging for whatever reason. And you would think the leadership of the Senate and the House would want to make sure that these positions are filled. If I'm looking at the roster correctly, we've got 2 vacancies, one by a speaker appointment and one is either the speaker or president appointment. Is that correct?
That's correct. Right now it's with the speaker.
Okay, so the multi one is with the speaker.
I think so. Matt, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's flipped back over to the speaker right now, isn't it?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have to say that I prefer to keep members on as long as we can keep them, because we no longer sooner get everybody, educated and you get your historical perspective. And and then you leave us. And I don't want to say goodbye to commission members. I want to keep commission members. That's when you know.
And all the
Like,
commission
we need
members
that.
I have seen leave seem really sad to leave. And I've been on boards and people are very happy to be off a board. So I've seen both sides. It's nice to be in a commission or a board where people are sad to leave.
Yeah, if I could chime in, Linda, I'm not sure on that. Maybe I think it might have flipped back to the Senate president. That's the private sector appointee.
It is. I think it's in the Senate.
Yeah. Okay. I thought. Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
When I some background, when I make these calls to either the House or Senate leadership, and of course you're dealing with the Speaker's office and the House Minority Leader, the Senate President, and the Senate Minority Leader. The very first question is, how much are they paid? The next question is, do they get coverage credit with OPERS? And then the third question normally is, do you provide healthcare coverage for them? A lot of boards in state governments, especially the licensing boards, they are actually paid because they meet monthly. They do things like disciplinary actions against doctors, revoke licenses for barbers. They have a very active role. They actually do get paid. They get health care. They get OPERS credit for their salary so long as it meets the minimum threshold. For example, Ken's board, people appointed to OWDA are paid. They do get, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ken, some OPERS credit and also eligibility for health care. Ken's board is very active. I think they meet monthly and they actually approve all the projects. They spend a lot of time with the staff there in really going into the weeds of a project alone. So that's kind of the background there. So once I get through all that, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, I'll get back to you real soon. And then we have silence for, weeks on end. On the other hand, some folks have been very excited and wanted to get on the board. I had a gentleman in the banking world worked for Baird and tried to work with the Speaker's office to get on, and he just couldn't. So it's all over the boardwalk there. I think the quickest thing is absolutely get rid of term limits. I mean, if you can get reappointed by a legislator leader, get reappointed. That would be, I think, Linda, probably the quickest. I don't think, we have non-voting ex officios. We got a lot of members, almost as big as the commission itself. A lot of board and commissions have gubernatorial voting appointees. We never have. I'm not sure we'd even want to explore that, but just FYI, most boards and commissions, the membership is appointed by the sitting governor, not a member of the House or the Senate. So that's a little different there as well. So that's just some background.
Well, Linda, I think what's interesting about our Speaker of the House and our Senate President they are both from, I think it's Lima. I think they're both from the same area. Mm-hmm. So I'm assuming that they know each other, and I don't know the Speaker real well. I do know the Senate President a little bit from a connection through my daughter-in-law, but I'd be happy to reach out and see if I could get a conversation just to let them know about the two openings. I think Matt brings up a lot of good points that, this not paid and you don't get health care and you don't get PERS, but people should, think about the public good as well. At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah, Matt and I both have had several conversations. We divided and conquered. We have both have had conversations. We're just not getting a response.
Yeah.
So that's why when Sandra and I were talking before, it's maybe in July, we think about this a little bit and come forward with some ideas about how we might, what we might do. And then I can, reach out and maybe ask for some changes in law. So.
Yeah, and the next Capitol bill will be running around the corner here this fall, the early prep stages. And that's probably the mechanism where we'd want to make some changes if you want to do anything.
I just think it's, of all the things that you have to deal with, getting enough people who can vote on things should not take up this much time. I mean, that's probably the least efficient thing that you deal with, and that's not your fault. That's the way we're set up. So that was really just kind of like a pre-meeting tease of what we can, talk about in July. And like I told Linda, Kimberly and I are both appointed by Larry Alpop when he was Senate president, and I thought he was super fast on it. And so I said I would reach out to him, like, you had your act together. What else could we do to help out the commission? He reached out to me when he was looking for other things to fill. So maybe it's just new staff or old staff needs to be reminded. So anyway, something to discuss for July. Housekeeping, yay.
Great idea.
Let me just throw this out because of another appointment that I was called about, is that actually it's not the speaker, not the president. I know this from past experience, unless they absolutely want someone, but it's the staff person that actually seeks out the names. I don't know who these staff people are for either the president or the speaker, but probably a discussion with the staff person who submits a list to the president or the speaker might be in order. But they're working remotely. So I got to tell you, appointments to boards and commissions are pretty far down on their list of top priorities at this time, particularly with the budget, et cetera. So
Yeah,
Joy, it wasn't any different when they were in house.
I'm sorry,
It wasn't any different before remote. I will say that.
you mean as far as the slowness?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always been slow.
it's been that way for 30 years, 35 years. But Matt, that's who Matt and I are talking to. We're talking to people who put together the list and hand them.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you said.
Yeah, we're talking directly to the staff that we need to talk to.
Well, I mean, again, appointments to boards and commissions, because I did a lot of that work to try to get people from Southeast Ohio appointed to various boards. It is low on the priority list. So
What if we, would it be bad form for Linda to solicit suggestions from local districts that could be packaged on a list to be submitted to the appointing authority? I don't think people are standing in line for this commission given the absence of perks. But if we went to our local districts where there is an interest and some knowledge, and Linda says, hey, there's 2 openings, would you like to be considered? No guarantees offered. And then Linda hand delivers it to whoever the staff person is and makes it as easy as possible for them to say A, B, or C.
I appreciate that, but these appointments, I think Joy can speak out about this. And I know we probably should have this conversation more in July, but as I talked to Joy about it, we were talking to them. We thought in the House that we had somebody lined up. And it didn't work that way.
Okay.
So I don't know that they're interested in who we suggest, because we've tried that.
I would say that I wanted to bring it up now just to give you guys time to think about it. And then, if you do see your representatives, to ask them. I mean, if you have that kind of relationship with them, or even if not, hey, this is something that seems to be a bottleneck for our commission. How do we improve it? And then also thinking about, what other boards and commissions you've been on, what could we do to help with our piece of it? And then whatever other housekeeping Linda needs help with.
Great.
Any other old business, new business, thoughts, comments? Matt, were you trying to say something?
I'm fine. No, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Nope. If there's nothing else to discuss, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
I'll
So good
second.
about that one. All opposed? Does anybody oppose that motion?
Got it.
Nope.
Excellent.
Nope.
Thank you all very much. Have a lovely summer, and we'll see you in July.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
You.
Thanks,
Okay,
everybody.
so
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much, everyone.